Based on the great new book Uncovering Mindfulness, In Search of a Life More Meaningful, we bring you a new series of podcasts called From Mindfulness with Love by Paul Mudd, the author. Here's today's podcast. We hope you enjoy.
Are you in search of a life more meaningful? Welcome to the podcast that takes you from mindful to mindful. Leadership, resilience, compassion, success. Join the journey. From Mindfulness with Love, here's your host, Paul Mudd.
Applying the principle of mindfulness to the more mundane aspects of our lives, such as walking, cooking, eating, and cleaning, can yield great benefits. Hello and welcome. In today's podcast, we start with a big question. How do you live mindfully? And it's the one I'm most often asked. So, what are the secrets and what are the top tips for living mindfully, both in our daily life and in the workplace? Well, firstly, some general stuff. Don't be hard on yourself. Be open and prepared. Be accepting and compassionate to yourself. Practice mindfulness with both technique and attitude, with a technique that involves both formal and informal mindfulness meditation, with activities such as mindful walking and mindful eating. Slowing down, observing in the moment, tasting, savouring. In the workplace, you can be mindful opening your emails and by being present in the moment in the meetings you attend. Start single tasking rather than multitasking. And remember the Zen proverb, when walking, walk, when eating, eat. Consciously move slower than normal, making your actions and the activities you engage in more deliberate rather than rushed and random. Be patient. Be tolerant. Do things more completely with concentration and attention. Put space in your busy schedule. Charisma and gravitas come from within, and cultivating space between the doing, pauses between the thinking, giving yourself time to recharge, all helps to develop and grow in stature. Spend just 5 minutes a day doing absolutely nothing and use the time to become aware of your thoughts. Focus on your breathing. Notice the world around you and basically become comfortable with the silence and the stillness. Don't sweat the small stuff. Stop worrying about the future. Appreciate who you're talking to or socializing with and give them your full attention, not letting your mind wander or thinking about what you should say next. Actively listen. When walking, practice tuning in to what's going on immediately around you. The sights, the sounds, the smells. You will savor all the new things that you'll see and discover so much more. You'll be continually saying, well, I never noticed that before. Or, that's the first time I've ever seen that. Here then are my top 8 tips that will help you to live your life more mindfully. These will help to promote a slower, more deliberate consciousness that engages the prefrontal cortex of the brain, helping to regulate your emotions and ability to think more clearly. Number 1, eat mindfully. Don't just eat to eat. Make eating a meditative experience. Take in the smells, the appearance, texture, and tastes of each mouthful. Savour each forkful as it enters the mouth and as you begin to taste it. Chew slowly and set a rhythm for your body by eating at the same times each day, whilst giving your system a rest by allowing 4 to 5 hours between each sitting. Also, be mindful where you eat. Make the meal about the food and the company. So keep the table clear of everything but food. No TV, phones, books, paperwork or mail. Not only will these changes help you feel more satisfied and sated, they will also give the neurons responsible for signaling fullness at the end of a meal a chance to catch up and tell the brain to stop eating. As we get older, this process becomes less efficient. But by being mindful when we eat, by slowing down, we're giving those chemicals a chance to do what they're supposed to do. And that will stop us overeating, which is good news if you're watching your weight. Top tip number 2, limit screen time. Those people behind Apple, Facebook, Google, et al. All appear to have one thing in common, beyond the obvious. Each limits screen time and access to other technology in the home. These tycoons of Silicon Valley are modelling the way by strictly regulating how their children use this technology. In part, this will be to protect them from the risks of online bullying, pornography, and what hours of unchecked iPad use might do to a developing mind. However, according to Nick Bilton, a technology writer, screens are banned from the bedroom in most of the tech moguls' homes, and their children under 10 are often limited to between 30 minutes and 2 hours of iPad use over the weekend, while 10 to 14-year-olds are allowed to use computers on school nights only for homework. TV has become part of the background chatter of our lives. Many of us have it on while working as a motivating background noise. Does it make us any more efficient though? Well, no, about 30% less in fact, according to recent research. And when added to the other fact that our mind is already prone to wandering around 40% of the time, then isn't it about time that we cut it down and just try to be present? Top tip number 3, try turning off the car radio or CD player. Switch them off and try focusing on the scenery as it passes or the sounds of the world moving around you. Notice the things that usually get missed whilst driving and give them your full attention. How many of us go to work not remembering how we got there? A sure sign of a busy mind, but also a sign that we are just acting on autopilot, which often opens the door for our minds to start to wander and to worry about stuff. We need to surprise ourselves, perhaps by taking a different route for a change and noticing what's new and different. Also try mini meditations during hold-ups in the traffic. Concentrate on breathing, focusing on each breath in and each breath out. Try counting the vehicles as they pass. Pick a colour and keep a score. Top tip number 4. Exercise without a backing track. Go on, pull out those in-ear headphones and give yourselves a break from the music and the chatter. Start focusing on what's happening around you and what's happening when you exercise. Notice your breathing, your pulse, the physical sensations, the changes as you warm up, and notice the sound of the exercise equipment as you use it and of your feet pounding the track or the pavement. Top tip number 5, why not set a step challenge? As you walk, start counting your steps to stay in the moment. Notice your pace, and if you're rushing, slow down, unless of course you're unforgivably late. Top tip number 6, don't be a slave to the rhythm. And no, we're not talking about the Grace Jones track here, but how we may approach and use social media. Whether at home or work, you need to decide in advance what's going to get done and how long is going to be spent doing it. How long will be spent checking and responding to emails? How long will be spent tweeting on Twitter, posting on LinkedIn, updating your status on Facebook, pinning on Pinterest? It's all too easy just to drift along with any of these online activities and suddenly find that an awful lot of time has passed, more time than we thought, and then we're pushed up against it with all the other stuff that needs to be done. Let's start making a game plan in advance and sticking to it. Top tip number 7, just do different. Open yourselves up to the unexpected by being unexpected. Smile more than you want. Stop to talk to people you don't normally talk to. Who knows what interesting conversations you might strike up and what you may learn. Start walking rather than driving everywhere, and if you are already walking, be really rad and change the route. If you normally take the lift, use the stairs instead. Try parking your car in a different place in the car park or sitting in a different chair when attending a meeting. And why not think about, if not doing it, rearranging the furniture at home. And finally, top tip number 8 for living more mindfully. Mindfully vacuum. Housework has to be done, but let's do it by being present. If it's washing dishes or filling the dishwasher, let's take time to enjoy the texture and feel of the soapy water. Hear the clink of the crockery as we place it in the machine. Notice the difference between the hot water and the cold steel of the knife and fork before we wash it. When polishing, let's take time to enjoy the smells, and when we vacuum, let's pay attention and hear the dust and dirt getting sucked up, whilst appreciating the changes as things look and feel cleaner and more ordered. So these are my top tips for living more mindfully. But what about bringing mindfulness into the workplace? Well, here are a few more top tips. Firstly, don't eat and work. Stop for 20 minutes, even if you're at your desk. And no screen time or playing games, please. Secondly, meditate before difficult tasks to bring focus and clarity. Third, slow down your response time in meetings to improve communication. Fourth, start the day with a positive affirmation. And fifth, stop multitasking. Rather, pay full attention to one task at a time. 6, turn everything off occasionally, even if only for 10 minutes. And 7th, start your own meditation group. Why don't you? I hope you've enjoyed and found those tips and what I've had to say about living more mindfully and how you can bring mindfulness into the workplace useful. I hope they will help you start to live a more mindful life and to work more mindfully. I'd love to hear what you think, and I can be contacted on email at paul@themudpartnership.co.uk, and that's all lowercase and mud with 2 Ds. You can follow the continuing journey on Twitter at the Mindful Book, and that's capital T, capital M, capital B. The book itself, Uncovering Mindfulness in Search of a Life More Meaningful, is available on Amazon. Until the next time, be mindful, live mindfully, work mindfully. Hell yeah.
Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed, please subscribe and leave a review. We want your feedback. Help us support your journey uncovering mindfulness in search of a life more meaningful. From Mindfulness with Love, we'll catch you next time.